What is up, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of our 6D journey. My name is Lucas, and I'm here to help us build and zoom in on healthy relationships. If you've given any sort of mind to my channel and you keep up with the regular proceedings of my output for video commentary and blogs, you've probably noticed that over the last 2 to 3 months, I have been kind of off in the shadows. Where did he go? What is he thinking about? I wonder what his perspective is today. We lost that person for a little while. I have a list of 11 things. I counted them this morning. I have 11 things. 11 things that I have put together. Let's read those to you. Oh yeah, guys, this video is different, but this is how it's starting back up. That's all I got. Okay, according to my list, which I have on my phone right now, I have puzzle pieces, inhale exchange versus exhale release, positive balance and negative repeating patterns, Superman versus Batman. Keep track of these. These are important. This one's big. What we help, we absorb. There is no way around negativity. Get over trying to be on top all the time. Get over others being happy all the time and not wanting to be around when they're angry or mad or sad. That one's about absorption. That was a big lesson that came in recently about absorption, about how when I tried to force my lessons of positivity into someone, sometimes they absorb it, sometimes they don't, and then other times I end up doing what they did before. Like, by helping them and giving them that energy of enlightenment, of shoving them into something, I ended up actually losing that token, and then when that showed up, I forgot to do it. What's a really easy, stupid example? Like, oh, well, I always brush my teeth for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And then the next day, I would just be too tired and I would stop in a minute. Real example. Next one, examination of quote black and or quote white. That topic, I've been having all these visions. And a lot of my visions that I'm having, they're in black and white. And not like black and white like with gray in between. Like where black and white television is black and white and you can see all the levels of gray. No, black and white. Lots of visions and lots of dreams in black and white. It's been very interesting. I wanted to do one on gay relationships because I'm engaged. Our engagement party was canceled because of COVID. It was supposed to be on April 22nd, 2020, which was April 4, 2024. It was on Earth Day, it was a new moon, there was all this kind of stuff building, and that didn't happen because we couldn't have it. People weren't going to show up, right? It would have been like a meet and greet and maybe, and so we moved it. Haven't reset it yet. And in this relationship that I've been in now for 13 months, it's been a lot of echoes from my past relationships, and a lot of echoes of where I'm seeing myself in my partner, but from years ago, and I'm seeing themselves, like my other partners, inside of me in reference to my partner. I'm seeing my partner as myself, where some of his processes and the ways of thinking through things, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I remember seeing it like that and having a moment of, oh yes, I was 22, like all this stuff. Lots of reflections of mirrors. Energy that's been exchanged, issues we've gone through. Like every relationship has its own set of issues. And like, what's a better word than issues? Has its own set of harmonies to create. Because no matter what you're doing, no matter who the person is, whether they're your lover, or your mother, or your grandmother, or your father, or your grandfather, or your siblings, or your close friends, or your aunts and uncles, or your bosses. No matter what the relationship is, we're always exchanging this dynamic energy of what we give, we cast off. I did that backwards. What we give, we cast off, and what we take sometimes, like as a lesson, ends up showing up years later. Like, and back to the issues thing, every relationship, no matter what it is, has its own set of boundaries and things we have to learn about ourselves, about them, about people as a whole, about our patterns. So many patterns were revealed to me in this relationship that I have inside myself. Misgivings that I have, judgments that I have for others and myself, sometimes both at the same time. Like, things have manifested and come up, and in gay relationships in particular, I feel like I don't want to sound different or victimized, but like, oh, we're working so hard to stay together. Not at all. But gay relationships, because it's two people of the same physical gender, we still have to establish roles of who's being the feminine versus masculine energy at different times in the household, and with different things and outside, and like that role reversal, because it happens a lot. Like, you know, where couples, whether it's male, straight, gay, queer, bi, multiple people together, we all kind of fit into patterns of roles. Someone takes on and becomes the social character who's very fun, and there's someone else who's being quiet and observant, and there's the caretaker, and all these roles that are feminine and masculine. We have to, this video is actually working out, we have to kind of look at those roles, like, because to me, this is my mind, the feminine energy when it comes to food is the person who prepares and serves and cleans the food for the man. In traditional roles, masculine comes in, woman has been nurturing, getting ready, and she gives out, right? Well, if, say, a straight couple has a woman that likes to go out and make all the money, she's really good in business, she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and the husband, he kind of has a side job, you know, he's artsy and creative, blah, blah, well, he stays home, he prepares the meals. He has a penis, he is a man, however, he's taking on the feminine role. Like, and that to me is perfectly acceptable. The thing about gay relationships is that, because although it's not really specific to gays, is it relationships in general, but it seems like really complicated for gays, is that we have the same gender. And sometimes there can be mixed signals that get sent about who's in charge right now. Like, because that's a thing. Like, letting someone be in control, like, for example, I don't like letting someone drive. I am the boy in the driving. I want to drive and be in charge of the car and where it goes and when it stops and how fast it goes, and probably the music in it too, because I'm selfish and someone needs headphones in the back. That's why I had a pilot that had headphones in the back. Kids could listen to different music than us in the front. Amazing. But it's like defining roles. Define roles with everything. Everything. From food to money to the budget. Defining roles of who's playing what character and then staying in character the whole time, that's important. Because I struggle with, I am overly dominant. I like to be the man a lot. And it results in me being tired. It results in me feeling drained, like I'm doing all the work. I have to give control over to my partner, and I'm not used to giving anyone control. I didn't give my parents control, I didn't give teachers control, I didn't give no one control. I was like, no, this is my life. I'm creating my life right now, and you're not going to stand in my way. And giving someone, I'm getting all my ego out right now, and giving someone that control, okay, right now you're going to drive, even though I am not comfortable and don't want it, sometimes I need to do those things. And that's a part of surrendering in relationships too, is surrendering the role. Surrendering the role that maybe you think you want to fill and letting someone else do it. And that's been a hard one. All right, what is equality, and what are the traditional roles of society? What is equality? That is an excellent, excellent, excellent question. What is equality? What does that mean? Equal. Equal means same. Okay, same. We got same. ITY. Equal of the things for me. Y is definitely me. Equal things for me. Yeah, this video, that topic's not ready to be unfolded yet. We're still processing some anger. Focus on the internal. People can get lost in their feelings. They can get very easily lost in their feelings. I myself am a person who gets lost in my feelings, and I talk a lot about being internal and focusing within, but then, you know, it's back to the black and white, half and half, everything is back and forth thing, is that as much as we're focusing on the internal in our relationships and how we feel and what we're going through and what we're sensing and thinking and we have to give equal amount to the other person involved. And I should say, P.S., when comparing your effort with effort from blank, it should always be person to person or person to whole group. So if you're in a group of 10 and you're comparing yourself to persons 3 and 4, but not 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you're the 0, the 1, the 0. If you're comparing yourself to 3 in the group and everyone else in the group too, that ain't gonna work. It's either one-on-one or it's the whole group. Don't make it personal. That was a really random fact that just came out. Passive versus active manifestation. When I first started getting into this whole idea of spirituality outside of religion, grew up Christian, I would call myself relatively devout. I wasn't like, crazy by the hour or anything. It's not crazy. I wasn't by the hour, but I had, daily and weekly and multiple times weekly rituals that were happening, and they still carried on. When I first walked into, thank you for listening. When I first walked into spirituality, it was like the image of the magician came up a lot for me. The magician from, for example, Mickey Mouse and the Sorcerer's Apprentice, that cartoon animated short film, of him creating and messing things up, and the wizard coming in and fixing everything with just a poo, 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 which by the way is a Christ symbol. That idea got really heavy with me, and for a long time I listened to so much about the power of will and the power of intent and the power of what we're doing inside here, and here, the field of us, our electrons, our vibration, our aura, right? Because right now no one's in here except for my cat, so really it's just my aura. You're just getting my aura, and my cat is still inside it, sort of. And the other one, she's barely tucking it. So right now this is my aura. But when I bring someone else's aura in, we're mixing. This is just me. Image of the magician, and I just got really passive. I became all intent, all will, all just, I'm just gonna think and allow it to take place and happen. And I don't know. I'm not sure that works. I think there has to be moving involved. And it kind of, this stems to people that like to complain, but not fix. They're passive manifestors. People that will just sit there and talk about everything they want to do, but then not do anything about it. The active manifestation is going out and making something, putting the energy into it. It's like if you're online and all you're doing is free courses, if that's all you're doing, then you're not actively trying to manifest anything. You're passively wanting the freeload point. You really are. Especially if you can afford it. Now, if you can't afford it and you're working your way in, okay. No one's hating on you. But if you can afford it, and so many people, I'm on several followings, I'll reference them. Melanie Beckler, Spirit Science, I want to say Adam Lambert, and that's not what I'm thinking of. Vic, Odo, Aaron, I can't remember his last name right now. He helps people expand their consciousness. In the beginning, there's a lot of free stuff like that I was following, and as I started catching up money, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send $47 to Spirit Science and just put that out there that I want to do it. I'm gonna go spend $99 on Gaia and go do it. I started actively manifesting and going, no, this is worth my time. This is worth my energy. This is something positive for me. Energy picked up. And the last thing, it says COVID. How long is this video? 14 minutes and 8 seconds. COVID. Fear has come in a lot with COVID. Fear has come up a lot in COVID. It's come up in the form of, where's my financial security? Where is that? Where's that? What about food and supplies? It's 3 months, 4 months, 5 months in, and it's still kind of like supplies are so weird. The other day I went somewhere, they had tons of toilet paper, okay? Lots of lots of paper towels, no hand napkins, none. Shelves, empty of hand napkins. But toilet paper and paper towels, we got those. And I was like, are we still doing this? My God, people. Big lesson there for me was I'm kind of a stalker anyway. I don't stalk through fear, but I tend to stalk like a month at a time, where I buy all of the frozen and refrigerated and pantry products at the beginning of the month. Well, before the beginning of the month, like the end of the month for the coming month. I would do that, and then once a week, sometimes every 10 days, go into the grocery store to get more lettuce, to buy a tomato, to buy some fresh grapes, like whatever. I have lots of frozen fruit in my diet with smoothies, so it's kind of like frozen fruit. I get fruit, like fruit's awesome. Frozen fruit, it's like you can get organic, flash frozen fruit. It's good. I am a stalker. I'm a stalker. Like, I like to stalk things up, and not stalker. And when that happened, I was like, let's do 2 months ahead. Just because, we have the money. Why not just go ahead and have enough toilet paper? Like, for my cats, this video is becoming more of a ramble. I should end it soon. For my cats, I bought litter and food and water filter, because they have a water filter for their water fountain. There's 2 fountains. I bought that for them, enough to go till January. Just because I don't want to order it again. I don't want to go make another transaction again. I don't want to go to all the effort of picking it up and, do it all at once. And that lesson came in strong. Be prepared. Be prepared. It doesn't mean necessarily go out and like prepare for the end of times. The apocalypse is near. It's not, the apocalypse happens every day. Apocalypse happens every day for somebody. And it's about really, that's part of the vibrational thing too, is, I feel like it feels like we're kind of moving out of the fear of COVID-19, and I think it's becoming more of an anger, frustration, planning thing. There's definitely anger, frustration in the air a lot right now. A lot of anger and frustration. Things are just not going the way everyone thinks it should be, and that's happening because we're all dissecting our different viewpoints of what we should do and how we should handle COVID in every single way moving forward, because it affected everything, right? So we lost financial stability. We learned to start stalking. I learned that it's probably best not to get too invested in other people's emotions. And for me, as an empath, that has been the hardest lesson of COVID. Not allowing myself to get overly involved with other people's shit. And I do it all the time. I do it in public at grocery stores. I do it with friends who really need more of a kick in the ass than you're doing such a good job. I have been an overly optimistic, overly helpful person in life. I have. And what's ironic is that I'm sure if every person that ever met me watched this video, half of those people would tell you that I'm a complete and total selfish narcissist. And it's because the thing about COVID that I've also taken into is that we all are our own selfish, narcissistic people in certain tendencies when it comes to how we view things, how we accept things, how we move with or without grace. And I think being self-focused, as that other topic said, being inwardly reflected and taking care of the self is 100% important, as long as another 100% is going out to the other people. And making sure that you're taking all the wisdom, all the love, all the care for yourself and then casting it out into the world. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing with COVID, is we're all being put into this internal energy field. The other day, so I fought the mask. Oh guys, I fought the mask. I fought it because the first time I wore it, I walked into a public place and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna rob this place looking like this. Like, people are gonna be judging me for wearing a mask. I had sunglasses on too, because I'm walking in sunglasses and a mask, so it's like, who the fuck is this guy? 2 cuss words. It's real today. And I fought it for so long, and then when I finally gave in, because someone got really up in my space, at a checkout at Walmart, and I was kind of going, wow, there's lines on the floor, can you not stay behind your line? I started wearing a mask. And there was this one day, wearing the mask, in disdain a little bit. I'm walking into Walmart, I'm so ready to take it off. I'm so ready to take that mask off. And as I took it off, the first thing that I smelled was emissions from a car. I was like, oh, this is not a very clean environment right now. I should put this back on until I get in my car. And all of a sudden I was thankful for the mask. That had nothing to do with COVID. Nothing to do with COVID. Just me going, wow, maybe I could wear a mask more often. Maybe this is okay. And it was just interesting. And you know, the mask has become more and more popular at gyms. People were wearing masks before COVID happened. It was a thing. If you were paying attention and went to gyms, you noticed more and more people were wearing masks. It's because there's germs everywhere. And it's like, I was telling someone the other day, like, well, okay, you don't have to sit and live in fear of COVID. Okay? You don't have to go and stockpile crazy and stand up against the man or tell everyone to wear a mask and cover up with hand sanitizer. But the thing about the mask is that we are constantly exposed. And yes, it's good to build up your immune system. Like, I'm totally in the immune system game. Like, you build up your immune system, like, breathe oxygen. Like, I'm totally on that game. While at the same time, with the game, is when should you be protected? It's like having protected or unprotected sex. You know, what is the likelihood of catching something if you don't have a condom on versus having a condom on? And how often do you want to protect that asset? When it feels good to you? You know, it's a big deal. And at some point I was like, you know, people want to wear masks. Let them wear a mask. I think if you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. But if you go to a business that says you have to wear a mask, you got to wear a mask, you know? I think, especially in Texas, I don't know the rest of the world, I think in Texas, you can refuse service to anyone. Someone can walk in a purple shirt, and you're not feeling purple shirts that day, and you go, honey, you ain't coming inside my store. What is that shit? Take that off. Come back when you fix your hair, too. You can say that, and that's okay, because we're in Texas. I mean, really, you can refuse anyone. If someone comes in with a bad look on their face, get out of my store. You see what's happened? I am now officially, possibly, a little bit, maybe, of a very sweet, empathetic asshole. Okay, so we had the S, the F, the A. We didn't say the D or the B. And I don't want to rush them. But I hope that we all work through the D. And I really hope that we all can learn not to be a B. Especially when just engaging with people. You know, COVID has reminded me what it's like to really need to see someone. What's it like to be able to exchange energy without having to actually go and physically show up. The importance of letting people be in their space. And it zoomed me in a lot to the fact that I like not moving. I've been moving for so long. And I'm such a mover. You know, when I was little, I moved my furniture around all the time. I ended up being in theater and show choir, and then I moved into gymnastics, and then into dance, and now I'm a mover. And I love moving inside my space. Like right now, I'm moving. But to the outside world, it's just my mouth. But more is happening inside. And kind of setting into that energy, really being passive, because I'm overly active. Being in the passive energy of just reception, of just allowance, of just letting it all flow through me, that's been a big thing. Learning to let things flow through me. You know, my grandmother moved in a month before COVID happened, and that in and of itself has been a ride. And sometimes when I'm not in agreement with someone, her or my lover or whomever, a friend, I'm learning a lot more to let it move through me. Instead of trying to actively move against it, let it flow in. Again, balancing passive versus active, passivo versus activo. Balance. Alright, from my sacred Al Shamaket to you, greetings. Subscribe, like, share, and if you made it all the way to the end of this video, type in 1, 2, 3, 4 in the comments. And then if any of the topics during my 11-page topic note sound interesting to you, put it down and I'll expand on that topic. I did gay relationships pretty well. But I'm going to look at those things too and also make further videos coming up with those 11 topics. We'll see what's to come. Bye!